to... The legal system. There are different kinds of legal systems in different countries. Probably the most popular, the most common legal system throughout the world in terms of number of countries that use it would be the civil law. And that's codifications of statute passed by legislature. So the legislature would pass some statute or some constitution, and there are codifications of that. So the law is interpreted. It's not made or developed by judges. So that has an implication on your business. It goes down to tort law, everything. So the codifications of the law will have an impact on how your business operates there. So you need to investigate that area. Common law, which is developed by decisions of judges. You need a legislature that runs alongside this system. This is the law system that the United States has, common law. Then you also have religious law. And what that is there would be a religion that's officially endorsed by the state. And there's a required adherence to principles set forth in a religious document. Now there are varieties, variations of each of these three laws, types of laws, and there are clearly other types of laws that would fit into the mix as well, but these are the three major ones. And like I said, there are variations on these, but these are basically the broad general ideas of the types of laws. So you have to figure out what kind of legal system the market that you're trying to enter has, so that when it comes time to enter, you know what to expect in terms of the legal proceedings. If you have any kind of issue entering in, what you can do, what's your recourse. The employment structure. Labor unions. They can be much stronger in your host market than they are in the U.S. So that's an important consideration. If you enter into a market and you think that you're not going to pay union rates, or something along those lines, you could be in for a big surprise when you have to deal with collective bargaining for a large group of people that you weren't anticipating. So that's the next bullet point. Collective bargaining. There's one face that represents the whole group that you would establish some negotiation with, some terms to arrange for wages, benefits, conditions, things of that nature. Labor strikes can be very common in other countries. So everything's operating well. Maybe you have a new plant manager or maybe you're taking over a company, something along those lines, and all of a sudden, boom, strike. They want to change the way the situation is. They want more money, they want different conditions, so the whole labor force goes on strike. This is something else that is needed to be considered, because if you're not prepared for it, you could be caught off guard, your operations could shut down, you could be in some serious trouble. The labor unions can have high-ranking government officers as reps. In other words, the labor union representatives can be high-ranking government officers. So it's important to consider that, the power that the unions have, not only in terms of how many people sign up to the unions, but also the significance that they have in government. Maybe the president of the country that you're entering is a union delegate. Who knows? You have to figure out what is the structure of the unions in the country that you're entering. And this is especially important if you're setting up shop in there, not just exporting to that country. So you need to consider that. The employees state-employer relationship. I've heard it described as a tripod. The state has a significant. The state has a major obligation, obviously, to its citizens, but they take that obligation and bring it into the unions because if the people are working, they're part of the unions. The state advocates for the unions on some issues, and then you'll have to work with the state on certain things. So it's a tripod that the business is set on: the employer, the state, and the employees. In many countries, not in all of them. Who are the real stakeholders? A lot of, well, coming from the United States, we might think that, hey, unions are expensive, and there's no way that we could be efficient if we're having to deal with unions and paying union wages. But in many other countries, the unions view themselves as real stakeholders, and that they realize that if the company isn't able to be competitive in terms of competing with their price with other countries, that they won't be, they'll be out of a job. So they take that into consideration, and that's the same everywhere. But you have to establish who are your real stakeholders here.